Hello all. So today we're going to talk about user authentication, like how we are going to create a user in OpenShift version 4.1, the latest versions for that are now available over the portal. Right. So here again, like what I'm going to talk about or what we are going to demonstrate here, right? Like how with the help of identity provider, you can right? So here, what in moment we have that how I'm going to create that. So again, you guys aware of that like the clusters concept, right? So again, I'm mentioning that in my case, I have a one node cluster. Inside that, I'm going to create a users basically, correct? So again, let's assume that we have like multiple identity provider, you known as like a has heard about that ST password mechanisms is also one identity provider, right? We have like LDAP, you guys can use that, right? We have like Keystone, right? These are also like one identity provide, right? We have like OIDC, right? So I mean, there's a lot of identity provider. I'm just mentioning that, right? So yes, based on that requirement, we are going to talk about this mechanism specific, like with the help of HT password mechanism, right? Like how we are going to create a user, correct? So basically, what point we have that how I'm going to create this mechanism, how I'm going to create a user with this mechanism, help of HT passwd identity provider. Now, so before create this user, we are have I mean we have some kind of prerequisite, we can say that like how we are going to create those different users in the different, right? So what point we have that in the case of HT password. So basically what we are going to create that. So we are going to create a one file. We can say that let's suppose password file, correct? And I'm going to use HT password utility, correct? Like HT password. So with the help of this utility, I'm going to create a user. We can say that like I'm going to create some user. Let's suppose there's some Sarah, we have some Ram user, right? We have some Hari and all of this. Based on that, I'm going to create like 2 to 4 users, right? And then what I'm going to do that I'm going to simple use my cluster. We can say my OpenShift cluster. We can mention that this is my OpenShift cluster, single node cluster. I can say that, right? And I'm going to simple integrate this user right here into my OpenShift authenticate maybe, right? So we have like multiple options are available, right? In this section or in this scenario, I'm going to talk about this method. Maybe in other lecture or other topics, I'm going to talk about this LDAP, YTC, Google, and many more methods that we have, right? So basically, yes, what we have that or what I'm trying to mention in that mechanism specifically, correct? So the requirement what we have that again, so we have like this one file, we can say that is holding my password, specific user with that encrypted password, correct? Now the point what we have that, right, we cannot directly attach or add this file into the opposite clusters because they have operator, right? We can say that, right? OAuth, and they require some kind of secret mechanisms. Okay, so what we need to do, that's a straightforward thing actually, right? So what we need to do that, we need to simply create one more resource here or component, that is what? Secret. Now, so that's a trick here, right? The secret always should be under a one namespace that known as the OpenShift hyphen. We have this a namespace by default there inside your cluster. So that known as like what? OpenShift config. Always remember that we cannot. I'm not going to integrate this directly inside this open this file. I'm trying to mention that. What I'm trying to mention that I'm simple adding this file, whatever we have file, right? So with the help of this file, we need to create a kind of file. We need to create a kind of secret specifically. Secret name could be anything. This is up to you, right? But the important point is that like what? The secret always should be under the OpenShift hyphen configurations. Why? Because your OAuth operator configurations always need this namespace for what? For the authentications, correct? So yes, like while creating those secrets and all, right, we can create those things manually, or we have another graphical features also are available. You can also use that process to create it. Once the user secret is created, then what we can do that we can simple integrate this secret inside that the OAuth configurations, right? And then we apply it. Correct. So yes, we have like a two-way to do that. Correct. What you guys can use that? You guys can use that the command line mechanism we known as the OC command. You guys are aware of that? Correct. Or what the next we can use that? We can use that the OpenShift graphically consoles, right? And with the help of this GUI mechanism, right? What we can do that we can create user easily. So here in these sections, I'm going to use that the GUI portions like with the help of graphically. It means what I'm trying to mention that I have these files are available. You can say the user with password, right? Here, with the help of graphical, you don't need to create the secret separately. Separate, that's an important point we can say, right? What we can mention that you can simple tell that particular OpenShift like, okay, I'm going to create a user. What kind of identity provider that we're trying to create that? You can just mention here, right? And then once you simple add that, the system automatically going to create some random secret name, right? Correct? Inside this file, and then based on that, what we can do? We can even to see that, we can modify, we can create, or we can edit, whatever you want to do. So here, yes, what I'm going to do that, so yes, I'm going to create a simple user with the help of which mechanism. You can say with the help of my console, we can it's easier, correct? So now back to my lab section. So this is my lab environment, right? Now what we can do that, let me show with my clusters version here. So I'm using a clusters version 4.1, correct? Inside that, what I'm trying to do that, simple, I'm trying to create a user. So the very first thing again, to create a user with the help of HT password mechanism, or we can say that HT password identity provider. First, we need to install that the utility. What utility? So we have a simple command like what? Yum install, right? The package should be available, right? To run that command. Let me just do here because I'll log it with the command. Correct. In my case, my package is installed. So then what we can do that we can simply able to run this. Now the very first point that I'm going to create a simple file, right, that hold my user with their password. How we can do that? Do a simple command like htpasswd with -c, it means create a new file, correct? With -decrypt, right, with the password mechanism. If you're not sure about the options, what we can do that? You guys can always type this help, right? And this help will help me out like, okay, so C means creating a new file that holding a password, B means use the password, right? Rather than the command line, and then B means what we can say, force decrypt hashing of the pass. So this is like, it's not a OpenShift command, we can say that it's like my HT password. Simple, yes. HT password -c, right, -p with -b. I'm going to create a file with the name of new pass. Correct. I'm going to add a user with Sarah with password. Let's suppose 123. Say here we go, right? If you guys notice now, see, so in my current path, right, in my current path, we get a file with what name? With the new password in my current, correct? Now, once we have this information file is ready, correct, I need to create more user, correct? In that case, if we're going to do the same command, if I'm going to create a one user, let's suppose Raj, okay, with the same C option. So C means, right, they are going to create a new file. It means if the file is there, right, and inside that file, if the content is already there, so it will always override it. Let's go through, enter and see. If I'm now going to cat this file to see what we have that. Now Sarah user is removed, or we can say override that with the file. If I want both the things, or we can say a paint and all those mechanisms, what we can do that, always this is best practice, right? Like, okay, so this is my first user, we create one file. Now file is there, so this time do not use C option, correct? Like that. It means what? It means I'm simple letting the system like, okay, I do not create a new file with the name of new password because I have this file is already available. Simple create a one user with the name of Raj with this password key. I need to create one more user. Let's suppose that I have another user Natasha. Just I'm just making the example, right? With the password, correct? Now, if you guys notice, see what we have that we have these three users like Sarah, Raj, and Natasha, correct? Now, the point what we have that, right? So this is my file. We can say that now focus on this in moment, right? This is my file that hold my user with their password, right? We cannot log in there directly, like if even though if I'm trying to log in this like what? Like OC login, just for example, Sarah with what password want to failed. Why? Because the system is not aware even though like okay, so this is my method to provide this class accordingly, and then the point what I'm trying to mention. So what we need to specify, yes, we need to specify or we need to tell that open so like okay, so we have a one more identity that is what uh, has the password, correct? So here again we mentioned that I mean in this videos we are going to simply talk about like with the help of graphical method, right? How I'm going to create a user with my SD password. Simple, what we can do that, see, log into your cluster. The very first we have this file. What you can do that, you can simple open your cluster graphical way. You see, I already log in my cluster with my admin user. Okay. Inside that, if you guys notice now that the next response. Okay. Now perfect. So if you notice now, right, what we have that we have this administrator sections. We go inside this administrator sections, and inside that we can see, right, that we have like one sections known as like what cluster setting. Okay, inside this cluster setting, if you notice now we have this configuration. So click on this configuration section, right, and inside this configuration, search one configuration we know as like what correct, we can say that here it is operations configuration we have. So simple click on this OAuth, right, and see this is the configuration. What we can do with that now, so you need to tell that particular OAuth like okay, I'm going to use ht password mechanism, correct? What you can do that or what options we have that you can simple scroll here, right, and see we have this add button here, right? Once you scroll down, right, under that identity sections, click on this add here section and see we have like multiple options are available, like okay, what kind of identity that you want to add. See, you have like basic GitHub, GitLab, Google, hasty password, multiple options are available. So I'm going to use the hasty password. Once you click on this hasty password, they ask you for some unique identity provider's name. So let's suppose that I'm giving a name something like what? New IDP. It's my name actually, new IDP hyphen pass. The name that could be anything, correct? And now the system asking for now tell me the file, the password file that holding your user with the password. Let's simple browse like that, correct? Or what you guys can do that you can simple cat your file. I mean, these are multiple options, right? Copy entire thing just for the example. So copy everything, right? And what you can do that go inside this particular sections and then simple it's simple. So this is the one way you can do that, right? Otherwise you can simple browse and then you can select your file as well. So this is one thing. So this is up to you. I'm not saying that like you cannot do in that way. So I mean there are offer a multiple method we can say that, right, to add your file. You can browse or you can simply directly copy and paste. See, so as soon as once you click add, that is all, right? As soon as once you click add, the system automatically going to create a secret for you with the name of something, this name with some random values, right? Inside which name is placed? Inside that OpenShift hyphen configuration. So this is a basic important point, right? Even though if you guys trying to create those things manually, guys, right? So you need to also mention that like okay, I need to create my custom secret, right? And that secret should always be under the OpenShift hyphen configuration. Important, correct? Now, once we're done, see. So as soon as when we click that, right? So what happened actually in the backend, right? So the system, right? Try to load the configurations, right? So the system, whatever the authentication you did that, right? So inside OpenShift, there's a one namespace. Inside that OpenShift hyphen authentication namespace, what we have that inside that OpenShift authentication namespace, there is a pod. What we have, there is a pod, right? That hold authentications information. Means, right? Even though with any identity provider method, right? Whatever you did that, maybe you can change any small thing even though, right? The system try to create a new pod with the new changes, right? And after that, yes, after that, you guys are allowed to log in the new changes, right? So this will take time. I mean, basically, we can say that the very first once you create a user, right? So this will take usually next, or we can say usually 1.5 minute before we create a new pod if it is going well. Okay. So yes, so what we can do that, see, so once we create an ad here, right, you see, once we did that ad, the systems mentioned the like, okay, so see, we have this configurations added now with the new hasty password. Now quickly back to that console, and here if I'm trying to get the pod, and the pod, yes, must be in, must create inside this open source application. See, if you guys notice now, so this is my old pod, right, running 50 minutes ago, right? Let me watch it continuously with the W command C. So after a 1 hour, 1.5 minutes, we can say that, right? The pod must be recreated. Even though, right, always remember that we cannot log in immediately, right, once the user is created. So we cannot log in. See, notice now the same time login with Sarah user. See, W connect on all this. Why? Because the systems are going to recreate the authentication. You can say that the recreating the pod, right? See, now we are getting this. You see, the system terminating the old pod that created a 59 minutes ago, right? And try to create a new pod. Once this newly pod is created, see, now it's running. So this 1 second ago. It means now what we can say that now the changes, whatever we did that, it apply here because the pod is going to be created, right? It means now if I'm trying to log in that, like how with any user, let's suppose that, right? Now the pod is running. OC login, we have a username is Sarah. With what password we set that one, correct? So as soon as we log in that, see what we get that. We log in successful, and see here we log in with this, which user. You can also verify that with OC who am I. You see here I log in with the Sarah. Simple, right? By default, yes, Sarah don't have any permission apart from the creating the project, right? If Sarah try to get the node, just for example, right? So she don't have a permission. Basically, I'm not talking about the authorizations now, right? The simple what I'm trying to mention there, right? Like once we authenticate the user here, right? The system's automatically going to create those authentication pod inside the open source application, right? Again, you are not allowed or you cannot log in on immediate basis after creating the user. So we must wait for some moment. We can say 1 minute or 1.5, right? Either you guys can go inside this OpenShift pod and then you can also watch your newly created pod. If the pod is going to recreate that, after that you guys are allowed to log in. Correct? And then the next we mentioned that the system is automatically going to create a one project, sorry, one secret, right? With some name, whatever you mentioned that, inside which name is this OpenShift hyphen configuration. How we can verify that? So to verify those things here, I need to log out with my current user, correct? And then I need to log in with my the different user. We can say that I log in previously, right? So I need to mention in that. Okay, sorry. So here log in with my sorry with my admin user. I need to log in with my different. The point what I'm trying to mention that, right? Like yes, what you guys can do with that just for the reference and just for the information, you can log in back with your admin user and see and verify with the secret, right? And secret always must be OpenShift hyphen configuration. See, if you guys notice now, see, the system's automatically going to create a secret for me, see, with the name of htpasswd with some random value. See, it's created 3 minutes ago. Perfect, right? So the point, yes, what we have that we can have this information, right? Even though you can also verify those authentications. See, we have one cluster, you can also verify your clusters as well with the YAML OC get what? Let me show it to you. We have one authentication here with the name of this one, and if I'm just trying to get this information here, right? At the end of this configurations, yes, you guys can see. Correct. So this is also one way to verify those things. Like okay, so the my user is created, right? Okay, even though if you try to log in that, you can, so I mean, see, it's not required. This is up to you again. So it's not required to verify every user, right? What we think that in the system environment, right, we taking using the bulk, right? And if you notice now, okay, so we log in with one user, so other users also able to log in. So this is up to you if you try to log in with some, suppose that Raj user, what we can do that. Also, we can log in with the Raj, sorry, uh, Raj with the password on the So this must also be logged in there. So yes, so this is a way like you can create a user, right? And with the help of HTTP password mechanism, it's straightforward. Correct? You want to modify, you want to create, you want to maybe update user, anything like suppose delete, update, anything in the existing thing, you can also do. Correct? So apart from that, other topic we can say like creating a new user in the same identity provider or changing the password, or we can say that modify the user's name or wanted to add whatever you want to do that, right? So that part we are going to talk about in the next topic, or we can say the next section. But here we have a simple, we can say that this is a simple introduction part, like how with the help of graphically mechanism we are able to perfect